Hi and welcome to this beautiful HMO in North Birmingham. I'm delighted to be invited to share what Guillaume and Andy have done with this project. I want to show you some of the details in terms of this fantastic property that they've created, how they've done that, some of the numbers as well. So first of all, guys, thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful project that you have here.
No problem, Saj.
Most welcome. So Andy, tell us about this property. How did you find it, and how did you come about it?
Yeah, first of all, it was brought to me by a deal sourcer. He was fairly inexperienced, so he brought it along to me. We came and viewed it together, and we met the vendor. It was actually on with 3 agents at the time.
So there was 3 agents trying to sell the property.
Yeah.
And there was a sourcer that bought the property to you.
Yes.
And you went to meet the owner directly.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So quite interesting. He was quite an interesting character, which is why I'm assuming that there was 3 agents.
Okay.
And a couple of sales had fallen through as well. Because the deal sourcer was inexperienced, he actually negotiated the deal at 216,000.
Okay. What was the original asking price?
The original asking price was 220,000.
Oh wow. Okay. So
yeah,
a nice 2% discount.
yeah, 2%. So I said to him, those numbers aren't going to work for me. Okay. He went back reluctantly to the vendor to try and get more of a discount, but he didn't have very much luck.
Right.
And this guy was quite a little bit hard to deal with, the vendor. Okay. So yeah, he didn't have much luck negotiating that down. So he asked me if I'd like to talk to him direct, which I said, yeah, no problem. So I spoke to the owner direct, came along for another viewing.
Yeah.
And few backs and forths with text messaging and phone calls. In fact, over quite a long period. It was actually over about 4.5, maybe 5 months.
Right.
Eventually.
So why did it take, just to help those that are watching right now, why did it take 4.5 months from the first time you met him to get closer to getting somewhere with this?
He was quite adamant that he wanted, because he dropped to 216,000, he didn't want to go below that.
Right.
So it took quite a while, because I said my figure, my numbers were a lot lower than that.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact it was around 160, 170,000.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, which is what I told him,
yes.
Which he wasn't very happy about, to be honest.
Okay, and that's understandable, because if you're asking for £250,000 for your house, was 250?
220.
Sorry. 220,000, and then you've agreed 216-ish. But Andy comes along and wants to pay 160. You know, that can be a little bit difficult to swallow. But that's because you've done your sums and you know that's what it's going to work out for you. It's not that you are just trying to kick somebody when they're down.
No.
This is, look, this works for you at these figures.
Yes.
If it can work for the other person as well, great. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Yeah. So what led to the price being accepted at that lower figure then? How did you get to that?
So it was accepted at 173.
Okay.
In the end, because the maximum I was going to go to was 170.
Right.
But I was texting him every couple of weeks.
Okay.
And phoning him as well. I'd say once a month, just saying, how's it going? How's the sale going? And he was saying stuff like, oh, I've got 3 or 4 people interested.
Right.
They're all offered 205,000.
Okay.
So it had come down from his 216, and he says offered 205,000. But I said, oh, that's fantastic, you know, carry on, you know, that's a really good price, you know, carry on. But then I kept following up every couple of weeks. How's the sale going? It's fallen through. I'm not selling it to those guys because I don't like them. That was what he said at one point. And then he dropped it. He kept dropping his price a little bit each time I spoke to him.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I don't think I'd spoken to him for about a month, actually. Right. I texted him and said, how's it going? And he said, oh, it's all on hold at the moment. I said, well, look, I'm still interested.
Yes.
I'd like to buy the property. What could he come down to? And I think he came down to 182,500.
Right.
At that point. Of which I said, it's still not going to work for me. But if you can get closer to 170, then it would work.
Yeah.
He then came down to 179.
Okay.
The following morning I spoke to him and he'd straight away came down to 176 before he'd even
so
said
really
anything.
just the time,
Yeah.
and just following up with him.
Following
and
up.
as his motivation increased, although he was talking about, I've got lots of other buyers, there's other people want to buy it, I've got offers that are higher than yours, he was still engaging in conversation with you. So it's not just a case of accepting the first thing that you were told. You just say, hey, look, no, that's fine. If you've got somebody that'll pay you more, that's okay.
That's fine.
But this is your figure. So over 4.5 months, he's
about 4.5 months,
about 4.5 months, he's got closer and closer to your
Yes.
figure of 170, which is where you wanted to be.
Yes.
And in the end, you ended up at 173.
Yeah.
So a great price for this area and the size of house that you bought. So
Yeah. Yeah,
well
it was
done on
good.
that.
Yeah. We split the difference in the end.
Yeah.
Because I said, okay, if we go halfway in the middle, 173, you got a deal. And he said, okay, done.
Fantastic.
And that was it.
And then was it straightforward kind of to completion from there, or?
It was pretty straightforward. Having to deal with him wasn't straightforward on occasions. So he was quite demanding.
Right.
He had certain demands which he laid out in emails and how quickly he wanted the transaction to happen.
Okay.
Which we had to explain to him. Some of that's going to be out of our control, so you can't really penalise us for that.
Solicitors, they take the time getting certain things done, searches, etc., whatever else it might be. Yeah, and it's liaising with the owner as you're speaking to him. You keep him up to date, informed in terms of what's happening.
Yes, which we did regularly. Even on completion day, actually, he was still saying that my solicitors weren't doing their job properly.
Right, okay.
Just before we were completing.
Yeah.
But
But you got there in the end.
Got there in the end.
So I guess a key learning from that is it's about the persistence of making sure you just follow up with leads. Just because it's not a deal right now from day one, it doesn't mean it's no, never. It's just no, not right now. So it's following up with that, maintaining a good relationship with them, and if it's going to be a deal that's going to work for you, it'll come to you anyway.
Yeah, just keep persisting with it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was the intention with this house? What did you want to do?
So the intention, because it's my main strategy to create at least a large six-bed HMO, all with en suites. So that was always the intention for the property from the moment I saw it, because we already had 2 rooms at the top, 2 in the middle, and there's a massive space downstairs for 2 rooms. So that was always my intention.
Perfect. So we've got 2 rooms in the attic space, effectively, 2 on the first floor, 2 on the ground floor. So we've got our 6 bedrooms and we've got communal space at the back as well. Perfect. So Guillaume, tell us, in terms of the house, what is it you've done work-wise on here then? So Andy said you want to create it to a 6-bedroom HMO. So tell me a little bit about what you've done here.
Yeah, so it was quite extensive actually. So we started by ripping the whole place out because it was quite in a bad shape, and all the way to the roof actually. And we ended up replacing all the roofs. So there's quite a high pitch roof and 3 flat roofs on the back. Yeah. Everything had to go. We had to relay the floors everywhere and repartitioning. So we used.
So it was almost a case of at one point you'd probably walk in here and you could probably see straight up.
Yeah, we kept the joists though, but it's just the boards.
So the floorboards have gone, the kind of ceilings have gone, the walls have been stripped back down to bare brick, and the roof has been replaced as well. So pretty much apart from the outside walls, you've kind of gutted it inside.
Yes, we had to. It was really in a bad shape. Quite extensive structural problems as well. So, part of the extension was falling off. We had to put beams a bit everywhere. Actually, it was quite frightening when we sort of uncovered what was under there. Really?
So I guess sometimes when you strip back properties like this, there's so many unseen. You don't see those things until you take it apart, and your builder can come and have a look at it, and he can price things up. But actually, until you rip the floor up, you don't know what's underneath and the condition. So you've done an extensive refurb, you've stripped it back down. So what's the layout now then in the house?
Yes, so we've got downstairs what used to be a double lounge to the initial house is now the front room here where we are sitting now. And as we walk through the corridor there, we go into what used to be the back lounge is now the shared facilities. The kitchen and what we call the cinema room next door. On the back extension, there used to be the kitchen there, the leaky kitchen as we used to call it. So this is now room number 2. Yeah. And on the top floors, we've got one front and one back room, which are quite large as well. And quite happy with.
Well, shall we go and have a look at some of the
I'll show you the
space at the back?
Show you that.
Let's do that. Let's head over and have a look over here. So let's go through here and have a look what we've got here. So this is the kitchen. Yep. you've still got TV to go on the wall there. And here, this is fitted to the wall.
Yeah, it's screwed to the wall.
I've not seen the grey ones before actually. I've got the blue ones at my office at home. I haven't seen the grey ones.
Yeah,
It's like the blue drawers behind your...
It's the same design, but then with the blue finish on those. I haven't seen one with grey.
If you see the sockets,
the
sockets we have the USB one. I've seen the big one yours or
I don't.
I'm just going to go to that one this afternoon actually.
The mesh.
Okay.
We also have the cat mesh here.
Yeah. It's nice, especially the way the ovens are together and stuff, and the extractors are hidden away.
So there.
Yeah.
From the underside.
Yeah.
And particularly like these tiles that you've got here.
The draining cube.
For worktop. This matches with the cube we were just looking at in there in terms of the finish. The lines are lighter colour wood with the grey. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have a nice fun sticking up this.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier on actually. I was thinking, I wonder if that came on a template or...
It was really easy to put up.
Right.
So I just stuck the template on the wall.
Yeah.
You stick them in and you put it off. And that's
Really?
It's done. Right.
It looks like one of those things that took hours to do.
Right.
We've got the lovely artwork on the wall here as well.
Yeah.
Looks lovely and
Fairly arranged.
So where's the TV going here?
So the TV goes here.
Or you just kind of freestand it here?
The turn spray plate.
Yeah.
Again, you got the USB socket that goes all the way to the desk there.
Okay, so you can plug it into there.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one thing with these shelves such upstairs.
Yeah.
The TV actually goes in that bit there.
Right.
But if I've got a certain size TV, it ain't going to fit. So that'd be for
Are you giving him a TV or?
learning for next time. No, we're not giving him a TV.
Okay.
That's a learning for next time. In case they've got a 50-inch TV.
Right.
Yeah, does it fit inside
We're going to put them on the chimney breasts instead.
But these, I mean, I would generally take the chimneys out where you
Yeah,
can anyway. It costs a few £1,000s. But actually, if you look at that size of that chimney,
Yes.
actually it does give you quite a bit of space when you can get rid of that. So I would say, so the ensuite's there, and then in this one we've got
the storage on the top.
Okay.
So it's quite a large
Yeah.
walk-in.
Lovely orange colour there.
Not going to hang their clothes in.
I think it could be a bit smaller next time. We drawn it indicatively on the drawing, actually, these ones.
Plenty of storage though.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. Yeah, you've got plenty of storage, so it's not just about hanging the
coat.
You know, you can put boxes, suitcases, and stuff out the way. Yes, you've got space up there for suitcase and boxes, but sometimes if you're getting stuff up and down, it can be a bit difficult. So Guillaume, fantastic job you've done here. So tell us about the work that you've done in the property. Then, as you mentioned, you've gutted it all out, and I'm loving the styling and the colour scheme. It just makes it stand out, and I guess we're in North Birmingham right now. The market's quite competitive here. You know, I have quite a few properties in this area. We've noticed over the years it's becoming harder and harder to let. But when you've got an outstanding property like this, it makes it so much more easier. So tell me a little bit about the thinking behind what you've created here.
Yeah, exactly. So it always looks, you know, the end results always is impressive, but it's all the planning that went into it before we started the works themselves. So the first thing we did really, and this was throughout during the conveyancing, is preparing really all our layouts and our electrical layouts and all our specificational work for tender with the different builders. And then when we appointed the bidder shortly after you know, getting the keys, we had a really clear roadmap of what we wanted to do, and it changed very little from where we started.
Yes. So the key thing then is the planning.
Yeah.
So I know, you know, there's other members in your team.
Yeah.
As well.
So Flo did all the layouts, and we really maximize the space like this, and we managed to be quite clever about it. You know, starting from size of furniture, size of you know, washing basins from showers and stuff like that, and really compacting all the rooms to maximize the space around it.
And for many people, these are like an afterthought. It's a case of when the property is nearly finished, it's a case of, right, what should we put where? But really what you've done is right from the beginning, you've worked out exactly this is where the bed's going to go, this is where the light switches need to be, this is where the desk's going to be, so the socket needs to be this height.
Exactly.
That level of detail was planned before you even start doing any work. And it also means, as you mentioned, you can really make the best use of space, especially in a house like this, which was built maybe 100 years ago.
Yep.
and now we're changing it completely in terms of how it's being used today. So the en-suites, the way they're planned, and I know you've done some amazing things in this house, which we'll share some of the footage of the layout, the en-suites, the sockets and things. So a very impressive job.
Yeah, thank you. Sure. I'm glad you like it.
Tell me a little bit about the figures. I don't just like it, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the figures then. So you purchased at 173.
Yep.
And how much did you spend approximately? What was the overall spend on the project?
Yeah, so we spent another 140k with cost for the refurb, furnishing, staging items, and all the soft furnishing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And in terms of that's quite a lot of cash to have. So does that sort of spare cash you had lying around in the bank?
No. So
tell us about how you funded it.
Yeah. So the way the model works, we want to have our funds involved in the project. So we use it as a deposit for the purchase.
Okay.
And then all the works, all this 140k was financed through private investors.
Okay.
So we raise money and basically we specialize in the business with hardworking people who have limited options in terms of investment and saving, and we leverage their pain of having very low returns on the bank, working with us, and so that they get typically our investors in France they get 10 times the rates they normally get in the common saving account.
Yeah.
And the interests are built in the cost of the project.
Okay.
And then as we refinance at the end of the project, we can repay everybody back. Yeah.
Okay, so essentially there's the deposit amount, which is your own money that you put in. The rest of it really is leveraging other people's money and working with a certain category of people you're working with for?
No, not necessarily. It's really hardworking people who've worked hard for their money and now see it depleting against inflation. And because I found myself in the same situation why I started in property.
Okay.
It's having worked hard and have some savings and not knowing really what to do with it, and so this is a good project for it. Yeah.
Fantastic. So it's offering other people a fantastic return on their money compared to, what the interest rate now is virtually zero right now. So people get very little in the bank. So it's offering them a great return, which means how you can fund the project like this. So tell me, how did you guys meet? Because you've been telling me about the numbers and what we've done and the layout, and Andy, how we found this particular project. And so how did you guys come together?
Well, we came together. I'd met Guillaume actually at a couple of networking events previously, and we had met up way before we were even going to work together.
Okay.
Then we actually all met properly during your event, Saj, on your mentoring program, your circle. Yeah. Cool.
And so what was it that encouraged you guys to work together? What was it that you saw that actually would be beneficial for you to connect and do this project together rather than on your own?
It's really having clarity of our own values, and knowing what we want and what we enjoy doing, and also knowing our skills and where we miss out. And it's associating with people who share your values but have complementary skills.
So I guess that's such an important thing in terms of when you're working with somebody, it's not just working with somebody because they've got something you want. For example, they've got a deal or they've got the money, which is the thing that most people move towards, is the case of, well, they've got what I need, so let's do business with them. It's finding somebody that matches your values as well in terms of what your goals and objectives ultimately you want to achieve. And it makes it so much easier when your values are in line. And also, as you mentioned, it's complementary skills. The biggest mistake that people make, and it's something I've done many times over the years when I first started out, is that we connect with people that are like ourselves. So we see something in them and we think, okay, we resonate with that. But actually, often what it is, we see ourselves in that person and our skills are very similar. So what that means is we're amplifying our strengths, but actually we're also amplifying our weaknesses as well. So I think the complementary skills is really important. That's a great way. And I know there's other members of your team as well.
Yeah, with Flo and Yana, all together.
So it's a case of the four of you working together on this project. So Andy, tell me, what have you enjoyed particularly, working with the trio here?
I particularly enjoyed actually our values and I've had most contact with Guillaume, but the other two guys as well. We got on really well. We've all got a nice temperament, and we all want to find a solution.
Yes.
And we're all really calm. So it's been quite a smooth. It's been a smooth project. Yeah. And equally, the builder as well was the same kind of temperament as us as well.
And that's so important because these are all people that form part of the team ultimately. They might be working for you on this particular project. You've employed them to develop this property for you. You're guiding them. But if you don't quite gel quite well, and I know it's easy to fall out, and you hear lots of horror stories of people falling out with the builder. But ultimately, these are people that are part of the team, and you've got to work with them.
And it's often all down to lack of planning or lack of you have a vision in your mind, but you don't specify it right. So how can a builder build your vision? And there's a lot of misunderstanding I see with people between trades and investors, because there's this clarity that needs to be conveyed formally and accurately. Okay,
so I'm going to ask you all to think about anything I might have missed that we'll pick up in a moment. So tell me, has it been a smooth journey all the way working with Andy? Have there been any challenging times you guys have had as well?
It's been great. I think starting with those values and not jumping into bed when we first met. So we see a lot of people looking for JV partners or connecting quickly on social media and then getting into business. I think I was making the comment earlier that I've seen more of Andy than my wife. At some periods of the project. So it's a very long commitment. You buy this house for the long term. So you need to be pretty clear and sure what when you get into business with someone. And I think we knew each other for 2 years and build a good relationship, really understanding our value and what we wanted. So it was pretty smooth, I have to say.
Fantastic. And another key learning there was a case of not just rushing straight into it. As you mentioned, you probably knew each other maybe 2 years before you got to that point where you're comfortable and ready, and maybe we should do a project together, and the right project came along. So in terms of, you mentioned the Inner Circle earlier on, the mentoring program that you're on with me. How's that helped you in terms of what you're doing?
I think as part of the exercise of working on our values and what we wanted as a business, it's I think I was after, so I knew exactly what I wanted, and I was after the best in my area, and I sought your mentoring because you were actively doing it now, and you were I see you as the best in what you're doing, and I want to you to help me rise to your level in this way, and I think all the nitty-gritties, the details of actually doing the contacts, it's invaluable, and it's the actual doing rather than the vision and the other people will sort it out sort of thing.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And I think it's important. I have lots of mentors and support as well that help me grow my business. And as you said, it's seeking out the people that are best at what they do and how you can stand on their shoulders and go so much further rather than just theory. It's the nitty-gritty detail that is important. So Andy, tell me, how has the program helped you in terms of what you're doing and what you've got planned next?
Yeah, like Guillaume actually, obviously I wanted to start working with you, Saj, on your program because you are actively investing in an area and in the strategies that I'm investing in. And I think sometimes, when people are given an overview of a strategy, it's when you actually start and you actually get a project, those are the nuts and bolts, and that's when you come up against certain challenges, and you massively helped with that, because whenever we've got something that we've come up against that we haven't quite come up against that before, I can just ask for your advice and say, how do we deal with this? And you're always good with your advice, so that's one of the main reasons why I've come to you, because you're an expert in what I'm doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys, appreciate that. So tell me, in terms of what you guys have got planned next, we'll talk about that in just a moment, and also how to reach out and contact you as well for those that are watching and that want to connect with you. Just tell me in terms of final numbers here. So are you going to refinance, and what will it give you kind of cash flow wise, this property, do you think? And are you going to be able to pull out all the initial money that went into it, or?
Yeah, so we expect an end valuation of £220,000 and get a 75% refinance on it. So get most of the money out. So definitely paying all the investors and get most of my money out as well. And this will be used. So the money left in will work quite well. I think the project will cash flow something like £1,800 per month.
Very good.
And so the money extracted will be used for the next project. And actually, as I came and notify my investors that we were coming to the end of the project, and we will give you your money back and with interest. And a lot of the feedback I got is, "Where's your next project?" You know, it's like, "Can we do it again?" So it's great. It's very scalable because there's no limit of people with savings actually, and that we can help. So that's
and you know,
that's
when
great.
you have a proven model like this, you've taken a property that's what, you know, 170 odd thousand, you paid for it. It'll have a value of about 420 odd thousand now, as you said. You'll get most of your initial money back out through a refinance. Your investors are paid back. You know, you've had your cash back. You're still getting about £1,800 a year net that you're walking away with, gross net.
A month?
Per month,
1,800
yes. You're still getting £1,800 per month from this property. So a fantastic return. When you look at return on capital employed, that's
quite good.
Yeah, a very, very good return. So before we wrap up, tell me in terms of people reaching out to you, how can they contact you? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, the best is to connect on Facebook or LinkedIn and drop me a message and see how we can work together and see how we can help. Yeah.
Excellent, and we'll put those up on the screen as well. Those
perfect.
Contact. And Andy, for you, what's the best way for people to connect?
Same again, LinkedIn, message me on Messenger, on Facebook. So I'm quite active on Facebook. So yeah.
Fantastic, guys. Once again, thank you so much for showing around this amazing project you've done. I absolutely love it, and I love the colour scheme as well that you've done. And I look forward to seeing you on the next project again.
Thank you, Saj.
Saj.